Hi, this is Michael Emmerine, and this session will be discussing how decouplers work. The next piece here is how do you choose that decoupler? Well, there's a couple of questions that you need to be asked, or you can ask yourself when deciding on the decoupler. The first one there is about the AC. Is there AC present? If there is, then you're looking at a true decoupler. Now, I'll get to the types of models that we're looking at here shortly, but that's the first question to think about. Is AC present? And let's stop on that a second and think about the AC itself. You might not know, but if there is, say, power lines in the area, then that's telling you that there truly is induced AC that could go onto that pipeline system or onto the structure. And we would need to know that. And it doesn't matter what level of AC, it's the answer to the question, is induced AC present or is AC present, is yes. Then you need a true decoupler. If AC is not present or never will be, then we could help you look at the line called the OVP, the over voltage protectors. And there's two of those, either the OVP itself or the OVP2. So the second set of questions is telling me about the classification for that area or that location. Is it a Class 1 Div 1 or Zone 1 outside the United States? Is it a Class 1 Div 2 or Zone 2, again outside the United States? Or is it non-hazardous? We would need to know that to help you get to the right decoupler as well. So taking that Class 1 Div 1 or Zone 1 location, and if there's no AC present and never will be, then you could look at an OVP. That's an over voltage protector. It has the casing for hazardous locations, and that would be that second column with the OVP. If any level of AC is present and it's a Class 1 Div 1 or Zone 1 location, then you truly need a PCR-H. That's a polarization cell replacement for hazardous location. That's the decoupler that is needed at that location. Back to the type of classification, if you tell us it's a non-hazardous or it's a Class 1 Div 2 or Zone 2 location, and there is no AC present and never will be, then you could look at the OVP2 device. If any level of AC is present at that location and it's Class 1 Div 2 or Zone 2 or non-hazardous, then there's two decouplers that you could choose from, either the SSD or the PCR. And at that point we would need to find out what the AC fault rating is at the location so we could get you to the right product. So those are the two types of questions. Know your AC, is there any present, any level, and what is the hazardous classification rating. Just a few pictures to show you the typical installs that might be used for the devices that we manufacture and sell. The one on the far left is for isolation joint protection, as it states. That's an SSD for the isolation joint. We would have the brackets that you could attach across that joint. We would need a few other items in there, the ANSI rating and the size bolts and so forth, but that's one of the applications for an SSD across isolation joints. The picture in the middle is a PCR inside of a pedestal. You can see the culprit in the background. I guess I could say at this quarter there is induced AC most definitely present. So the company's probably using this for AC mitigation purposes, and they're attaching that PCR to the pipeline to mitigate the AC to the grounding system. The third picture that you see here is a PCR that's installed in an electric panel. The entire station itself could be decoupled, and there are some methods to use for that and schematics that we could help with to install that properly. Thanks again for coming to the Dairyland website and learning just a little more about decouplers and how to use them, and a little more about Dairyland itself.